Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Discovery Plus is the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet. 55,000 episodes from networks like TLC, HGTV, and tons more. Woohoo! Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
All right, Friday, May 8th. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
And we just got the word. We get 20 more days sheltering in place in Michigan. Yay.
Yeah, Puxatawny Whitmer stuck her head out of the hole and said, 2 more weeks.
She did this one kind of quietly.
She did, yeah.
The one that brought us to May 14th was made at like 6:30 in the middle of, on Thursday evening news, and there was a press conference. And
Yeah. No, it is interesting that, there wasn't much of an official statement. I think I first read it on Fox News was reporting that she had signed an executive order.
Yeah, I found out from you in our pre-show meeting.
But let's come back to that because I want to talk more about our the extension of our stay-at-home restrictions here and how that reflects, not reflects, but how that compares and contrasts to what's going on across the rest of this nation. But speaking of Michigan, we were kind of the epicenter for a lot of the protests that happened across the nation. And also had what seemed like one of the more aggressive protests. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah.
I mean, you got guys like I know that people are talking about storming the Capitol. I mean, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that terminology. There's men with guns who are insisting that they enter the building. Mm-hmm. And they didn't. I don't think it really. Like if I was writing a book and I said the men stormed the Capitol, the image in your head would be like guys with weapons drawn, like clear and doing the hand motions and like 2 up there around the corner.
Yeah.
Like taking the place over. These were guys that were just like, they had their guns out because they're assault rifles, but I'm sure they had their safeties on. I didn't see anyone with their finger on the trigger. I'm not defending their actions. I still think it's idiotic.
This is dumb.
But then again, they didn't do anything illegal, which is kind of insane because you can't go into any courtroom in Michigan with a fucking penknife. You can't even bring your fucking cell phone.
I
had
all metal out of your pockets, right? You go into any courthouse.
Last time I was in court for my son's truancy case, I had to I didn't even have to convince the security guard at the gate. I had to have her talk to her superior to make sure that I could bring a bottle of water in from the outside because the drinking fountains did not work. And they said, "Oh, we sell water." Okay, where? There's a vending machine that was out. And there's another vending machine on the second floor that was out. And finally, after 10 minutes of me going around trying to find water, which I needed because my son had to drop urine. And we were trying to get him to drink so that he could drop and we didn't have to come back. And yeah, I had to get somebody superior to okay me bringing in a clear bottle of water for my son to drink. But it's perfectly okay for people to bring assault rifles into the Capitol building. I mean, they're looking at that now and trying to change that. I think that only makes sense. I mean, I don't know what the argument would be against that.
My guess is you can't just walk in with a gun. My guess is there are metal detectors. They're probably going to be placed a little sooner in the building now, based on
by the law, Open carry is legal in Michigan,
Well, yeah,
and the Capitol and the
you can't
Capitol
just walk
building
into
has,
a courthouse with a gun.
Yes, it's not a courthouse. The Capitol building in Lansing has no restrictions on open carry. Each business and each organization, whatever you have, makes its own rules on whether they will allow open carry in there. It doesn't mean just because you have open carry in your state, you can take that gun anywhere. But as it stands, there are no laws barring open carry inside the Capitol building.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet there's metal detectors.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't change the laws. It's still the. I mean, just because you have a metal detector,
there's open carry in the whole state of Michigan. You can't walk into a courthouse with a gun without them knowing about it.
Yeah, and I get the comparison to the courthouses. I made the same comparison, but that doesn't change the fact that there are still separate rules for the courthouses and the Capitol building. So even if they do have metal detectors, which if there's no restrictions on what you bring into the Capitol building, then I don't know why they would, but they may have metal detectors. But that doesn't mean that just the presence of a metal detector doesn't mean that they have the right to refuse you entrance into the Capitol just because you're open carrying. They have to have a policy. I mean, they're going to change it, sounds like, but yeah. I mean, and they did, right? The guys walked into the Capitol building with guns. You saw the pictures of them standing around looking all Call of Duty'd out.
Well, it doesn't mean just because they did it, it was legal.
It doesn't, but I'm telling you that it is. It is, as of right now, 100% legal to open carry your firearm into the Capitol building.
Okay, so nobody broke the law.
Yeah, no. There were no arrests made at these protests that I know of. There were no claims of law breaking. Now, breaking the orders to stay at home for only essential activities, I guess they were breaking that. And
we had gatherings where 10 people, more than 10 people weren't allowed. Why weren't we breaking them up?
Yeah. Well, I think smartly because you don't want to cause more of a situation. You've got guys already waving Confederate flags, swastikas, walking around with bulletproof vests, with masks on, with tactical gear on, with assault rifles. I mean, like, in order to break that up, then you have to come with a bigger show of force. So now you got the SWAT team out to deal with the protests. Now you're just exacerbating the situation. You're just making more. I think it's a better tactic to let these guys tucker themselves out.
How committed to your order are you, though?
How committed to what?
To your order. You see little gatherings of 10 people, but one happens right in your backyard and you don't break it up. It just shows it kind of shows your order doesn't have any teeth.
Well, it doesn't really have any teeth. I mean, we're selectively applying it, and for the most part, the lockdown is voluntary. If the majority of the country, of the state, of any area decided that they didn't want to adhere to these shelter-in-place orders, then they just wouldn't. And there's nothing that anybody could do about it, unless they want to actually, unless they actually think that it escalates the level of martial law. And that's what I'm saying about this protest. Are they breaking the rules of that you set up for shelter in place? Absolutely. What's it going to take to make them stop? Well, it might make the situation worse. If we just give them some time, give them a couple hours to shout and look threatening and wave flags around, and they'll have their protest. We can film them waving swastikas and Confederate flags, and they'll eventually go home.
Well, yeah, because the other part of it, too, is if it didn't get violent, they didn't do anything wrong. You're allowed to peacefully assemble.
Well, wait, which is it? Are you allowed to peacefully assemble, or aren't you? You're just arguing that they should have broken it up because they're not supposed to be assembling.
That's the stay-at-home order, right? That's breaking that. Right. But I'm saying if you would...
Yeah. And there is a difference.
If you want to go to the federal rights, they're allowed to do that. That's the other thing.
The stay-at-home orders don't ultimately trump our basic rights. The people who think that they do, it's just that there's the rest of your neighborhood, your area, is deciding to adhere to these rules.
But we could still
right. So that means that you can't now go shopping where you want to and get your haircut or whatever.
Dude, I could give you a one-word thing that could fuck up this whole thing. Pot.
What?
Which is it? When it comes to pot, the state's the boss. When it comes to other things, the feds are the boss. Who's the boss? It seems we only apply these things when we want them.
No, the feds.
Because when it comes to pot, we go, oh, the states have the ultimate.
No, but we've talked about this many times. The federal government still has ultimate say, and if it decided that it didn't want a state to sell cannabis, it would do something about it. It's choosing not to. The federal government has a full authority and power to shut down any cannabis operation, medical or recreational, in any state right now. It's choosing not to.
I agree.
And just like we have, we have the full power. I can do whatever I want right now.
Yeah, we all can.
Any place that's open right now, as long as it's open, I can go into it. Nobody's going to say shit about it. I can go driving around. I can walking around. I can gather with people. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I will probably be refused entrance into a store if I don't wear a mask. But again, that's a recommendation from the state that businesses do this. That businesses are going, yeah, that makes sense because we don't want, CVS doesn't want to be called out in the news as the next epicenter for coronavirus because it was letting people into its store who were contaminated and spreading it. So all that to say, anyway, to get back to these protests. Oh, before we go there, one more divergence. So the protests that happened last week, there was, I'm sure you've seen the very famous picture that was used in this story across the nation of a balding man screaming at a couple of stoic-looking officers in face masks.
Oh, the alleged protest actor?
Wait, why do you call him the alleged protest actor?
Because he's not. It's a guy from Michigan. He's come out and said, nope, that's me. I'm not this guy from California that everybody thinks I am.
Oh, I see. No, yeah, I knew he was from Michigan. So people were saying that he was.
They thought he was some Proud Boy hired. They thought it was somebody who was hired to go around and no, some guys from Michigan.
I think I know the guy that they thought that he was too, because he looks like a guy that they've had on Vice. Anyway, no, this guy was in the news this week because he wanted a chance to tell his side of the story, and his side of the story was that he wasn't screaming in the faces of officers. That there was one particular officer that at a prior event he saw got rather rough with a female protester, and he saw that guy and was personally trying to call him out.
Okay, sure.
I'm right. So, nice defense. I mean, not that you need a defense because, you believe that your actions are justified. So, go ahead. Again, you're not breaking the law, right? I don't think that,
Put your name on it, pussy. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's me yelling in the Capitol building because of the shutdown, right? Okay, maybe you're right. We caught you at a specific moment where you were where you looked overly angry because you were directing it at one specific person and not everyone at the Capitol building. But still, this is like the defense of the people who are waving swastikas. Well, no, it was ironic. We're calling Whitmer a Nazi. Like, all right, but you're the white dude waving a swastika around.
Yeah, you're still seen holding a sign with a swastika on it.
You gotta see everyone else's perspective on this and see what you look like, right? So just take a picture of yourself and see what you look like waving a swastika around.
The idiot that wore the Ku Klux Klan mask when he went shopping. I don't know if that guy's a racist or not, but I do know that you've now been photographed wearing a Klan mask on the news.
I gotta believe if this guy was a true racist that he wouldn't be sporting his Klan hood at the grocery store.
Even if you're trying to be ironic, you are now on the news wearing a Klan mask at the grocery store.
I'm sure that it has to be some sort of trolling, protesty move of, yeah, okay, I'll put a mask on, but you ain't gonna like it.
I know this is a weird comparison, but this seems like somebody's like, I'll show you how not gay I am. I'll suck your dick.
Right. Or protesting being searched at to get onto a plane, so you just drop trow and bend over right there in line. You're like, oh, search this, asshole.
Yeah.
You're still the freak with your pants down at the airport.
Yeah, you just presented your asshole.
Yeah.
Why did it have to be Michigan?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's we know we've got some wackos here in Michigan.
It couldn't have been another state who's already got a crappy reputation.
But I think in general we've handled this pretty well, and our leaders and representatives have handled this pretty well.
We already have the national punchline that is Detroit. We had to add this to it.
Look, in general, I think Michigan's handling this really well. I mean, yeah, we've got some wackos. Every state's got their wackos. You know, we could be New Jersey.
It's true.
We could be Florida.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Michigan man doesn't necessarily call up, militia dude in fatigues.
No, Michigan man means usually someone went to the University of Michigan. They're a Michigan man. Means means you're smart.
Yeah. Or you picture somebody like deer hunting or something like that.
Yeah. Some guy who makes his own jerky.
Yeah. So,
I've really come to realize that the rest of the country just thinks we're Canada Junior.
Yeah.
It's like us in Minnesota, Canada Junior.
Right. And Canada, believe me, Canada's got its wackos. Canada has all of its nice people are right on the border of the U.S. So they have this, we have this false narrative like, oh, Canada's so polite and nice. I'm like, no, dude, they're just as wacko and racist as we are once you get past the big cities.
There's just less of them.
Right.
And they're quieter than, they don't have big mouths like we do.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Nya nya nya. Ba. Ba. Babue. Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to progressive could save big.
Cool. I just gotta finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
My name's Barry. I live right above you. I don't host parties. I host after parties. They're like parties, only louder and nobody goes home. You can see right here I ripped out all the carpeting because it was holding me back with my pogo stick. Man's got a pogo. Oh, I'm a prankster. I'll grease up a soda can and then when somebody grabs it, boom!
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
So, anyway, the whole reason I brought up the protest last week is to get to the story that happened yesterday. In response to that, one of our state representatives here in Michigan, Sarah Anthony, was escorted into the Capitol building in Lansing with 3 armed guards. Yeah. These were, I know one of them was a firefighter. The other 2, I'm not sure of their profession, but they were private citizens, all with open carry license. And they actually didn't enter the Capitol building with her. They escorted her up to the steps. Now, she says that, let's see, here's her one of her statements on this. She explains this to the Lansing City Pulse. We were all just appalled by the lack of support and lack of security that I had, that other legislators had, and the fact that a lot of the demonstrators last week were adorning many racist, anti-Semitic signage. I think it just triggered a lot of folks, especially African Americans.
I'm waiting to hear in that story where anything actually happened to her.
Well, do you wait? I mean, like,
nothing happened. This is somebody making a story out of something that didn't happen to them.
The story isn't that something that nothing happened to her. The story is that she witnessed a hostile situation at her workplace, which just happened to be the Capitol. Right? Look, you're black in America, or anywhere for that matter, and there's a group of white people waving Confederate flags and swastikas and brandishing rifles. I think I'd feel threatened.
Yeah, but the day to do this was the day after. She did this yesterday. Did you see the pictures? It's her and 3 other people with nobody around them.
I saw the pictures. Yeah, there was no protest.
If you're trying to make a statement, maybe the day after would be the day to do this.
That's your beef with it?
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't work the day after.
This seems kind of self-serving, doing it a week later.
Self-serving?
Yes.
Well, she's definitely
They got her in the paper
statement.
and we're talking about it.
Oh, so anybody that wants to get their message out there is self-serving.
When you do it this much after the fact, kind of.
So were the protesters self-serving?
What statement are you making when nobody's there?
The statement that you wouldn't... Basically, it's just a compare and contrast, right? What if you had a bunch of black people with guns at the Capitol building? How would people react to that?
They'd probably lose their shit.
Right.
Okay, and?
That's it.
Okay, so then that could this happen in reverse? So then that happens. The next day, or a week later, could a white legislator show up with an armed escort, say they're making a statement about their safety? No.
Could they? Why not?
Because we don't live in that world, and you know it.
Wait, what? I don't know what you mean by that world. What's the stop? I don't understand why you're saying they can't do it.
Who am I saying can't do what?
You said a week from now, if a white person who is a representative shows up with armed guards.
This wouldn't even be a story because we wouldn't even know about it.
Okay, I'll give you that. It probably wouldn't be reported on 2 weeks later.
Exactly. So is it really making a statement?
Yeah. She made the statement. It was covered in the news, and people heard her.
Her statement is people showed up a week ago and had ideas that she didn't agree with. Like nothing happened to her. If something happened to her, I get it, but nothing happened to her.
So it's okay to feel threatened if nothing's happened to you. So something has to happen in order for one to take action?
With the statement she's trying to make with this, yes.
What's specific about this that means that she shouldn't be taking any action unless she's personally threatened or she's actually assaulted? I'm not saying that any of these things were bound to happen, but I can understand, first of all, the idea of wanting to have protection. I think that's just logical. And I also understand the desire to send a message. Hey, here's a black person showing up with black people with guns. What does everyone think about that? Oh, it's not the same as a bunch of white people with guns? Please tell me why it's different.
That's not how the story's coming across.
I guess not to you.
The story's coming across as some people showed up a week ago with some stuff that, like, nothing happened to her. That's what I don't understand why she's trying to make the statement. Nothing happened to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go in circles with you on this then. I mean, if you think it takes something happening to her for her to take action, then I don't see where you're coming from.
With the point that they're trying to make in the story, it would be made better. As I said, if nothing happened to you, the point you're trying to make in the story seems kind of lost. She said you felt your safety was threatened, but where is the incident? The incident is there were people there that had ideas you didn't agree with a week ago. Where's the actual incident?
It's a little different than just ideas that you didn't agree with. Imagine if you showed up at your work and there were a bunch of people waving flags that said, "Sand N-words go home," and turn the Middle East into a fucking sheet of glass.
As long as nobody threatened my personal safety when I tried to get in the building, I don't give a shit.
You wouldn't feel threatened by that.
As long as I wasn't personally threatened, no.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, then you are a very unique person and nowhere near the median in this country. I think if a person of a certain segment of the population shows up and sees a bunch of people protesting that are using symbols that is specifically calling out.
As long as no one says anything to me personally, I don't care. And I think that's how most people are. I think this is a week later after the fact. Mm-hmm. This is to get in the news. We're talking about her.
And then what? And then she sells us
no, it's an election
Amway.
Year. It's an election year.
Uh-huh.
And then we vote for her in November. That way, when we see the sea of names in November for state representative of people that we basically don't know, we're going to see a name that we recognized from that news story a few months ago. Here, this is a name I recognize. I'll vote for this person.
You're presuming intent, and I guess we both are, but I just don't see what your problem is with this. If she's not doing anything illegal, if the protesters aren't doing anything illegal, if both of them are staging incidents to get their message out there, why is this woman more worthy of your derision than the protesters?
Because this seems to be making something out of nothing.
So are the protesters.
Nothing. She's, again, the way the story is written, she's making it sound like she was threatened. There was where's the incident? People showing up that don't agree with you is not an incident.
Well, I think you're probably reading the story wrong if that's what you're getting from it, because it's not that she's implying that she was threatened. She's saying the presence of protesters with swastikas and guns and Confederate flags was in and of itself threatening. And I fully agree with that statement. If I was in a minority group, I would feel threatened. If I had to go and work at a place where I had to push my way past people waving swastikas, I think I would feel threatened. So her taking action to protect herself when she feels threatened, totally within her rights.
No, this was grandstanding because again, if you see the pictures, there was nobody around. There was nobody.
Is she within her rights?
Today, no.
Can we
agree
on that?
A week ago, yes.
No, she's not. She's not. What is she? How is she breaking the law then?
Today, what was that escort for? The no people that were around you? Again, if you look at the pictures, it's her and those 3 guards. There's nobody else around.
Pictures. I've heard you, and I understand, and I've fully responded to that. But yes, this is half protection and half statement.
And I think the statement's better made a week ago.
How?
Back when it was still going on. Doing it a week later after everybody's gone home seems a little empty.
They were gone by the next day.
All right, I guess let's move on then. You're right, we're going to talk in circles.
So yeah, we're extended out until the 28th here in Michigan for our stay-at-home orders.
Yeah, we should be. I'm sorry. Just the way I've seen people out at the store, and even today, my sister-in-law's coming to stay with us for a few weeks. We're trying to throw a room together for her. Mandy goes out, tries to find a futon or something, and the 3 or 4 places she went, she's like, "What the fuck?" It's stuff I was saying. Did I miss the all clear? She said she went to Target and there was a line out the door. For what? People were just like, "Oh, it's Friday." Went to Walmart, parking lot jammed.
Yeah. The lines is kind of hard to judge because I think most places are doing a limit of people based on square footage. Mm-hmm. So basically, you can't, you got to look at your square footage and say, if everyone's 6 feet apart, how many people can we actually fit in here?
Yeah.
So when I did my grocery shopping the other day, they were saying there were no more than 50 people allowed in the store at one time. They didn't have a security guard there to police this in any way. And maybe it's something that they only have to enforce during busier hours. I went, in the middle of the afternoon when nobody was there anyway.
Or people in masks?
Well, yeah, but I think I told you about this. These are the people that were talking to each other by pulling their masks forward.
Yeah.
So you could see their mouth. I'm and the rest of them just had them sagging below their nose.
Mm-hmm. Remember, people, it's like cutting the tip off a condom. Just as dumb and just as ineffective. So yeah, I'm sorry, we need it. Make fun of our governor all they want, bitch about it, but just the behavior we've seen in the last week or so, it's not just because we've plateaued and we're on the other side of the mountain doesn't mean it's over. It's just hang out till June, all right? We're already 7 days into May. We just got to make it till another 20 days.
Yeah, but that's got to be the last of it. I mean, I said I'm supportive of all this so far, but honestly, like if by the end of May, we should have a plan to make sure that we're protecting the vulnerable, and everybody else has got to go out and work on that herd immunity.
Well, if you look at the curves from China, which we know is a little suspect, but South Korea, I mean, June's right about the time when we should start doing all that. We should start releasing everybody back into the wild, so to speak.
Yep. Right. In Arizona, they had a panel of experts on this that they said, hey, put us together a predictive model. What is this? How is this going to spread? When can we open up? When is it going to be safe? And the panel said, if you want to play it safe, you're going to keep the lockdown until the end of May. And they said, okay, you can go home now. Your services are no longer needed.
How Trump of them.
They put the report into the circular file and said, thanks for your input.
That sounds like a Trump move. Oh, you didn't tell us what we want to see? Peace. Or didn't tell us what we wanted to hear? Bye. It's the West's Florida, Arizona. I mean, we've said it 100 times. Corona don't care how you feel. COVID-19 don't give a shit how you feel about this. It will just get you sick and kill you. You can call it fake news. You can call it a plandemic. Whatever you want to do, it's still going to happen.
You see they let the woman out of jail in Texas. The salon owner.
Now she's she just hero +1.
Yeah. Supreme Court ordered that she be released.
Oh, man, now she's a folk hero. She just went from martyr to folk hero.
So, yeah, I still think that she's an idiot. And she's got less than a week to go before she's allowed to reopen her business according to the state anyway at this point. So this is all demonstration.
Yeah.
But I still support releasing her from jail because I can't condone putting anyone in jail for nonviolent crimes.
Charge her money.
Yep. So she gets released on the same day that in California, Gavin Newsom is talking about how nail salons have been identified as exactly the type of businesses that are helping this disease spread. Which only makes sense. I mean, the type of contact that you're having.
Well, just because you're super close.
You're super close. Who knows how well they sterilize their equipment or the environment. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to say like we don't have a lot of cases of this being transmitted through surfaces or any cases that we can prove. But I'd have to think if someone's sitting at the counter for like a half hour with their palms on the table and sweating and getting their DNA all over that shit.
Wait.
Like if you don't thoroughly sterilize that, I can see how you could still pass coronavirus or any number of things to other people.
This is dog whistle Asian racism, Gavin Newsom. Nail salons, huh? Who generally owns and runs nail salons, huh? I see what you're doing there, Gavin.
Or the racist side of this is thinking that only Asians are going to be affected by it.
Build the Great Wall. I hear what you're saying, Gavin. I just think really it's the close contact. Like everything we just keep hearing about this, it's the close contact. I'm not going to be paranoid to be within 6 feet of any human being ever again. It's amazing I still hug and kiss my wife.
I don't know. New York City, I hope I get over it.
Just New York City has to be, that's the ultimate thing, right? Everybody's on top of everybody in New York City. They never shut down the subway in New York City. Like they built up instead of out New York City because there's limited room. And New York City was like the epicenter for this in this country. So yeah, I don't. And then Detroit, I think Detroit is for Detroit is one in the poverty column. Like that would explain the Detroit outbreak. When people are in poverty, generally a lot of people live together. Boom, close contact once again.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
My name's Barry. I live right above you. I don't host parties. I host after parties. They're like parties, only louder and nobody goes home. You can see right here I ripped out all the carpeting because it was holding me back with my pogo stick. Man's got a pogo. Oh, I'm a prankster. I'll grease up a soda can and then when somebody grabs it, boom!
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Discovery Plus is the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet. 55,000 episodes from networks like TLC, HGTV, and tons more. Woohoo! Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
So you said you saw this Plandemic shit?
I watched the video. Yeah.
All I know is several people who I always thought were smart shared this in my news feed, and now I am reconsidering my relationships with these people. And it's hard because some of them might be family.
Well,
what? Just the fact that the whole idea that this whole thing was planned is like, I'm out from that. Like, really? Yeah, we're gonna stop the global economy. We're gonna kill many. Yeah, no. It's the thought of it being planned to me is just ludicrous. But you saw it, so let's. What do they have to say?
People are easily turned by decent production values. You know, they got a couple decent looking cameras and did a halfway a yeoman's job of lighting and got some clips to splice in and some dramatic music.
Like everyone,
and that's really all that's going on in this video. You know, it's an interview with one person, this doctor, I don't think she's still a doctor.
I keep seeing people. The stuff that keeps coming with this is like, you have to watch this, share this with as many people as possible. I'm like, oh my God, we've been friends for a long time. Really? What I do know is their lead quote unquote expert is an anti-vaxxer. So I mean, strike 2 and 3.
Judy Mikovits is the woman that is being interviewed in this video. And I'm not sure about her. I've certainly seen reference to her as an anti-vaxxer. I know in the video, he asks her directly, are you an anti-vaxxer? And she says no. She believes in vaccines. She just doesn't believe that it's possible to make a vaccine for an RNA virus or a coronavirus. I mean, I don't know what anyone does with that information, you know, or how you, I don't know. The woman has no proof. That's what it really comes down to.
I guess what's the whole point of this?
Hold on. It's a long-form interview where she presents a lot of conjecture and opinion, and they don't back it up with anything. They show a lot of clips. Like she'll talk about Fauci, and they'll show clips of Fauci, and it makes it look like, oh, they did their homework, and here's these clips are only supporting the basic facts of her story, as far as like Fauci was the head of this organization, or this person said this at some point on TV.
I guess,
but she makes more ridiculous claims of being jailed, of being persecuted, of people planting evidence, and they back up. Let me finish. And they back up none of that.
I guess what are the bullet points here? What is this whole thing saying? Why is it?
That's what I'm saying. There is nothing there.
Really? They're trying.
There's absolutely. They jump from subject to subject. They provide no evidence to back up any of their claims in this interview, and they reach no clear conclusions either.
So there's no premise. There's nothing. There's no overall
The premise is you're being lied to.
By who and why? Like that would be my first two questions.
They never get there. Like, I mean, they call out people like Fauci.
Like, what is this all for? What is this all for? That would be my ultimate question. Why? Why is this all? Why do we shut down the global economy for 6 months, 3 months on the one side of the world, 3 months on the other side of the world. Why? What is this all for? Who benefited from this?
Well, the thing about the video is it's not just directly addressing the response to the coronavirus. What they're saying is that we've been lied to over the last decade. One of her bigger claims is that RNA viruses, coronaviruses, have an evolution period to jump from species to species that usually takes hundreds and hundreds of years. She says 800 years. I don't even know how you track that because we don't have 800 years worth of scientific data to look at, but okay. You went back to the Roman times and asked them. So she's saying that it's impossible for these types of viruses to mutate in this way, this fast, over the course of a decade. So the only conclusion left is that these are man-made or laboratory-tweaked diseases.
There we go. Okay, so it's to feed the lab assholes? It's to keep feeding that narrative?
That's a big part of it. And then she makes a claim that you can't make a vaccine for an RNA virus, for a coronavirus, and which completely contradicts her idea that Fauci and others are lying to us so that they can corner the market on a vaccine. I'm like, well, yeah, but if the vaccine doesn't work, don't you think we're going to know?
Well, there it is.
Don't you think we'd figure this out really quickly?
Is that what it is? Is Fauci supposed to be a venture capitalist? Is that what she's getting at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Fauci has personal interest in this. He's going to make out like a bandit. He and many others. Yeah,
he's on his fifth president. He's been in this position for how many years? He's on his fifth president, but yeah, he's got a vested interest in this.
Look, we've said this before. Whoever comes up with a vaccine for this, or some sort of like good treatment that keeps people from dying, they should get rich. This is how the free market should work. This is the positive benefits of having financial gain in when it comes to the medical system or whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. When it comes to medicine, right? Like that, profit isn't always good or bad when it comes to anything, including medicine. And there's a lot of ways where it fucks up our healthcare system, yeah. But when we need to get shit done right away and fast, there better be a payout for somebody on the other end of this, or our best powers aren't going to be working on it.
We should reward someone for saving us.
Yeah.
If someone's sitting there going, I'm going to save the whole human race and get rich. Wah-ha-ha-ha. Great, that's not evil intention to me. Oh, no.
She claims that
you're going to save us. Oh, no.
She claims that Fauci and others knew that there was a proven treatment for autism that involved drugs that were over 100 years old, and they withheld it from the public.
This is when I would be Homer Simpson and just go back into the bushes.
Right.
And we're done
what
here.
End, right? So if she's making the claim on one hand that Fauci and others are getting rich off of cornering the market on vaccines, and these vaccines cause millions of deaths and millions more cases of autism, then how can you also make the claim on the other hand that they had a cure for autism and they didn't put it out there? Because would it having a cure for autism then just strengthen their case for the vaccines?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it benefit if you're pushing a vaccine and people are thinking that it might cause autism and you go, well, that's okay because we cured autism.
Yeah. People, it's like people like to, I just want to make a flow chart for people like this. Like, listen, if this happens, then this happens. And therefore, everything you just said is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. I understand how, like I said, the video it's a decently produced video. And, none of the two people in the video, the interviewer or the interviewee, which are the only two people in this video, neither one of them are, drooling or ranting or spitting when they talk. They're not, pointing at the camera like Alex Jones. They seem very sane and reasonable people. And that's part of the danger of this. Because I don't think people are stopping to think about what they're actually saying. I mean, if you just pay attention for those 28 minutes of the video, there's no clear thread that you can follow through any of it. It's all logic that either is circular, it's proving its own case just because, I said so, has no proof, no document. I mean, they start this off with you've been railroaded by the medical industry and by Fauci and all these people, right? You're coming out saying that, these things about vaccines and autism and all this stuff, and people didn't want to hear it. So they locked you up. And I'm like, okay, how does that work in America? Well, they locked her up by planting documents in her house, proprietary information that belonged to the company that she worked for. And they used that to put her in jail and silence her. So I was like, all right, this sounds kind of ridiculous, but look, it's not impossible. It's not impossible.
Say that again? I want to try to follow that. She got locked up for what?
She got locked up because they found documents in her house that she had taken from her employer.
So she stole from her company and got caught.
She stole from her company and got caught.
So it's a conspiracy.
And she says that they were planted there, right? So, these are outrageous claims, but they're not impossible. I'm not going to just out of hand dismiss the idea that somebody could have their rights taken away from them and be jailed without cause in this country. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen.
Yeah, but it's like the days of the Commodore 64 are gone, right? So we can go in and we can go down to we can figure out every keystroke that was made on any type of device.
Well, we have Wikipedia, and we can just look up and go, okay, well, how long did she spend in jail, and what did they charge her with? 5 days that she was held.
Oh, okay.
She didn't even go to jail.
Okay.
They're talking about these people jailed you to silence you. I'm like, that's not a jail. You don't spend 5 days in a jail. That's called a holding cell.
Yeah, if you're being silenced, we never hear from you again. If you're being silenced, you're in the desert, in a hole.
November 2011, this is on the Wikipedia page, she was arrested and held on charges that she stole from WPI, her employer, but she was released after 5 days and the charges were later dropped.
Wait, hold on. Oh, it's all a ruse. No. So 5 days in jail, charges dropped. They're trying to silence her.
Yeah, if they're trying to, they didn't do a very good job.
Yeah, they're horrible. They are awful at silencing you. And then you made a movie. Yeah, again, it's just what got me is people I considered smart. Several people, more than just a couple, shared this on my timeline. And if you believe this was planned, let me know when you find the edge of the earth.
Yeah, this is apparently supposed to be part of a longer documentary, and maybe they will draw some conclusions and tie this up as to why they refer to it as a plandemic. But nothing in this almost half-hour-long video gives any. It doesn't even. They don't even conjecture. There's no conjecture on why they would want to plan this.
And you know what bothers me about this, and it shouldn't, but it does, is everyone's pulling this, right? YouTube, Facebook, everyone is trying to pull this. It's just going to add to the narrative, right? See, everyone's trying to keep it from you.
Yeah, now
they don't want you to know, and it's gonna make Alex Jones sell more shit. All right, it's gonna contribute to that too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm not a doctor, right? I've said this more times than I've ever said in my life in the past month. But
I feel like
I'm watching this, and I just have to tell myself this, right? I'm watching a video of a doctor speaking. I might think she's a crackpot, but look, she has her degree. She studied this shit. She definitely knows more about this than I do, right? But when you make blanket statements like it's impossible for this disease to jump from species to species without it being engineered in a lab, tells me that. I'm not a doctor, but I have a basic understanding of evolution, and I know that it surprises us a lot. And things that we thought were previously didn't exist, all of a sudden exist, right? We have not even identified and classified all of the animals on the planet.
Hey,
and I'm talking big ones, not microscopic, like fully visible to the naked eye. There's shit swimming at the bottom of the ocean that no human being has ever seen before.
We still can't figure out eggs. Every 5 years, they're good for us, they're bad for us, they're good for us. I think right now we're in the good for us camp.
Well, yeah. But just because you haven't seen it happen before doesn't mean that the only answer is somebody engineered it.
Okay, this is like...
do you see if the first time she saw an angler fish, those fucking things with the big mouths and the bulb that hangs down in front of their faces, those crazy looking creepy fish that live on the bottom of the ocean, you would look at that and go, what? This thing makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right? Why would it be shaped like this? Why would it look like this? Why does it
have a light hanging off its forehead?
Yeah. It's completely alien. So what? You would think that because you can't think of a reason why this thing could or should exist, that it must be genetically engineered, that men put anglerfish at the bottom of the ocean to fuck with us?
I like to think I was a lot more tinfoil hatty when we started doing these podcasts, and I think doing these every week with you and Rich is just made me, and I think I said it last night too. You know how many people would have to be in on this if this was planned? You know how many people would have to be in on this lie? I mean, that alone to me just makes it out of the realm of possibility. Like, no, this happened every now and then. Shit like this happens, and we're alive, and we just happen to be in the age of disinformation.
Yeah, they're pushing the idea that they've got all these videos of nurses that have made their own little conspiracy videos and stuff, and medical professionals that are talking about how come we're getting people are incentivizing us to report deaths as coronavirus related, right? So the hospital gets more money to deal with the coronavirus death than it does non-coronavirus death.
I am friends. I will not call them out by name simply because I like them and we've been friends for a while. But I have friends that are nurses that are posting this is a bunch of bullshit, that are going to work, dealing with all this, and then coming home and putting on Facebook that they think this is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
What?
Well, but
what?
Hold on, though. Yeah, let me finish my thought. So the nurses, the doctors, they have medical professionals that are questioning why there's extra money provided by the insurance companies to cover coronavirus deaths. And I mean, it's not like a bonus, right? It's not like the nurse gets to put $500 in his pocket because he wrote coronavirus on a report.
Yeah.
Well, it's literally because it takes more time and money and everything to take care of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's...
That boggles my mind, the people that are in the profession that still think it. I don't know. We are definitely in a strange time.
None of this video is talking about how this is bullshit and a fake pandemic and all this. It's talking about how we got here, which it's saying that we got here because we were fucking around with disease. The doctor says, like, I know that this disease came from, and she talks about there's a facility in Denver, there's another one in DC, and the one in Wuhan, right? And she's like, I know that these diseases come from, really, that, right? But she says that, she knows this, and the interviewer doesn't have a follow-up question.
But why? What for? Why was it released? Are we calling the herd? What's going on?
No, not even. You're getting ahead of yourself here. The follow-up question is, how do you know? That's just the most basic question that you would ask as a journalist. The first thing you would ask, someone says, I know the government engineered this disease.
How?
If you go straight to, well, why do you think they would do that? You're a bad journalist. You have to tackle the first question, which is, how do you know this? And if the person has no response to how they have this information and can't prove it, then you're talking to a wacko and you should move on.
I believe people younger than us say pics or didn't happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's ghastly what people will believe. The video made me really sad. And the shame is that they do, like all good conspiracy theories, they do make some good points about herd immunity and talking about how we're handling this. You know, and I don't think that we're handling this perfectly. I do think we're all doing the best that we can with as much information as we have.
See, this herd immunity thing, I know it's a good thing, but like Sweden, it depends on the day. Yesterday I heard what Sweden's been doing is good. Tomorrow I'll probably hear what Sweden's been doing is bad.
It's neither good nor bad. It's like Sweden, I think, has a small enough and spaced out enough population that they can push forward for herd immunity.
Because, yeah, Sweden's one of those places where, like, in half of Sweden, nothing.
Yeah. Sweden's not going to get overrun by the disease. They should be getting out there and spreading it around and building up an immunity as much as possible because, you know, the vulnerable people of their population are going to get it anyway, just like they are here in the U.S., It's just a question of how frequently these cases happen, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, we got to wrap up.
Yes. So, another week. Yeah. We're what? We're going to be, by the time this is all said and done, in Michigan, it'll 2 months plus of being sheltered in place. I'll be on week 9 of working from home next week. It's spring 2020. It's a wash, everybody. We're on Twitter at Unregimented Pod, Instagram at Unregimented, Unregimented at ChristopherMedia.net is the email. ChristopherMedia.net. Hit the Amazon banner. You know, we'll put a pause on the PayPal. You know, every penny counts right now for everybody. So Amazon banner, you're ordering stuff online. That's how you can help us out without spending any extra of your cash. And then where do you listen to us? It's more like where can't you listen to us? But we are at Spreaker.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, ChristopherMedia.net, the iHeartRadio app, Stitcher. Anywhere there's podcasts, that's where we are. And drop us a rating, all right? Maybe even a review. Because I mean, that's when you're doing anything you haven't done before nowadays, you look at the reviews, right? Whether it's podcasts or stuff you buy on Amazon or a new restaurant. I know I'm always looking at the reviews, seeing what the average rating for something is, and then the reviews. So if you could drop us a rating and a review, we would appreciate it. New listeners, welcome. Old listeners, we see you, and we appreciate you for sticking with us. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So the weather is just all over the place lately, right? One day it's hot, and the next day it's windy for a while. It's like, make up your mind already. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.